Welcome to the retro special, the Karting1 SuperKart Grand Prix from Silverstone. As you'll notice, I'm suitably attired for the occasion. I thought it'd be a cool idea to do a race, this is our third round of the championship. But I thought I'd add in a special sort of element to it, so I'll make it the GP plate as well. So whoever wins the race, they can run the GP plate for the rest of the year. I think it's a nod to the old Silverstone Grand Prix when superkarts, especially in the UK, was really sort of at its peak. You know, you had your Reg Ganges, your Martin Hines, your Leonard Bolins, those sort of big hitters racing. So, yeah, we looks like the track's going to be really good for some good racing, some long straights. Going to be a lot of slipstreaming. I won last time out, which was kind of cool. But really, the main thing is we've got. I think we've got a lot more drivers at the front this time as well. We've got Daniel and Moore, Jonathan Bell. They're all knocking in some good times. So they're going to be joining us, Fowler and Fletcher. You know, Jack Dex. A little bit controversy last time out with his penalty, but he's going to be making his way to the front of the race as well, I think. So without further ado, we're going to head over to the commentary team now with Will Dendy and James McMahon from Kart Pulse. So great to have James on board. So I hope you enjoy the race, lads, and hope everyone watching enjoys the show.
Well, thank you very much, Alan, and welcome everyone to the third round of the Karting1.co.uk SuperKart Championship. We've got an incredibly exciting and unique event here at Silverstone, and I'd like to say a special welcome to my fellow commentator, James McMahon, who joins us all the way from Chicago. Welcome, James.
Thanks, Will. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Especially excited just to see this revival and emphasis on superkarts again.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I understand that that you've had a play on this as a karting enthusiast. You've had a play on this simulator mod. You've been on, what is it, Monaco in 1965. So you're no stranger to the historic side of things.
Yeah, for sure. Once Alan talked about, he was going to do this championship and get some superkarts back out there, I downloaded the mod and gave it a go. It's an rFactor 2 mod, and it's hard. Obviously the karts, they don't react to bumps very well. And the first track I went out on was Monaco, the 1965 layout, and it was just bonkers. It's just insane. It's super fast, even in a superkart. And the bumps as you come through the chicane, there's literally a ramp for the superkart. You have to brake enough to keep the kart on the ground, or just lift just enough so that you don't hit the wall. So it's awesome. It's a great mod. The sound is great too. That's one thing that really impressed me.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? And I don't know if you've seen any of the races that we've had, but just even on smooth, fast-flowing circuits like Donington, and not so much Zandvoort, but we've had a lot of drama and a lot of incidents. So hopefully they'll do a round at Monaco. I can imagine it'll be a lot of drama. But did you give the historic Silverstone a try?
I haven't given that a go yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing it today. I think it's such a fast layout, right? I think Alan was talking about that slipstream or drafting, as we call it in the US. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I really think so. We've got such a top quality field that I think we're going to be incredibly close. And there looks like a bit less gravel to everyone to beach themselves in this time. I've just had word through that qualifying has just finished, so we'll have those grids up to you soon. But James, it's been such a tight field at the front. Have you got any experience with any of the top drivers? Obviously, you mentioned Alan and his antics, so things have crossed the pond fairly quickly. Do you know of any of the others? Yeah,
for sure. I haven't seen much. I have seen a little bit of controversy, but I can't remember the names. There was a couple of drivers that just touched each other and they got taken out. I've seen some drivers kind of going through them, trying to get back on and stuff like that. But it's been good. I saw Alan, his trying to load there, doing the CIK thing, and I think it was the first round.
That's right.
And,
even before the first corner, James, he hit the wall before the first corner.
The race director hit the wall. Or the series organizer.
Yeah, that's it. Apparently, just right after he'd told everyone to be really careful. So, a name to watch out for. We've got a few names to watch out for. Sam Fletcher is always really fast. We've got, Sam Fowler. Daniel Fletcher is also really fast. Really great race between those two in the first race. Alan Dove, of course, is always brilliant. Cracking showing last time out from Stephen Calvert, who managed to grab a podium. There's a lot of controversy as to whether Jack's move in the final hairpin at Donington was on or not. I think it was, but obviously the race director thought it wasn't, so Jack was demoted to fourth. Talking of Jack Dex is always brilliantly. He's always really entertaining to watch and comes through the field. Really experienced real life racer. Daniel Lamore has apparently been flying in testing, so it'll be really good to see him up there. Dean Hale as well, always puts on a good showing. Max Tad, he's always a driver that is there or thereabouts. And James, Jack Bird, apparently his girlfriend said that if he didn't get a top 5 in the first race, that she'd sell his simulator. So we were speculating as to whether he'll still be on the grid this time out or not. So yeah, that will be interesting to see.
Oh, you could work that a number of different ways.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: he was on the grid
immediately
last
in
time.
my mind, I'm thinking I'll take him out. Right, I'd make his girlfriend an offer on the stuff ahead of time for half price, and just take him out, and there you go. You got yourself like a full sim rig for half price.
Well, maybe if you could race in the next one and do that, I'd really like to race in this series. It's been such fun to watch and commentate on. If you wouldn't mind just doing an Allen or a Dex on him and sending him into the wall, that would be most appreciated, James.
Right.
So, so we soon have the qualifying results coming up. And this is a brilliant book developed by Terence Dove. We actually did a lot of work on it together, so learn how to master the art of kart driving, but I'd say it's really applicable to cars and simulators as well. Terence has done a lot of really new work in driving in the wet, and that you have to be smooth and have a lot of feel, and I think that's really applicable to simulators. So you can pick this up on Amazon, and I've been going on about this book for the few years that it's been out. So if you haven't got it, please do go and buy it, because it's a fantastic book by a fantastic coach. So, round 3 at Silverstone. You've read it, have you, James?
I have, and Terence hopped on the podcast for Kart Pulse a few years ago to give some tips. He was on for 3 episodes and gave lots of information. But as you say, I mean, it's a book that's really applicable to any kind of motorsport, because it talks about very high-level techniques that are going to benefit you in how you approach the process of getting faster and how you approach racecraft.
Yeah, definitely. So we're just about to see who has this book and who hasn't, because the grids are coming up for qualifying. Oh, okay. So I'll pass you over to James.
One day.
Okay, so we have here Pulse looking for experienced drivers in Assetto Corsa Competizione, iRacing and rFactor 2. Brilliant team. And if you want to have their livery and be involved with them, fantastic, friendly group of guys, then please do check out Pulse SimSport on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. So I don't know if we've still got James here. Oh, hey James, welcome back.
I'm back. Yeah, sorry, I had a bit of an intrusion in the office here. But Pulse Racing, as Will said there, are a sim racing team led by, I believe, Glenn Guest. And they're always looking for drivers, sim racers that are looking to get, kind of deeper into the sport and work with a team and kind of learn and grow and build a community. So definitely check him out. Glenn Guest himself is a very competitive racer, but he's a super nice guy as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, James. That reminds me, I can't believe that I didn't mention Glenn Guest in my little list of drivers to watch out for. He's obviously got a lot of real life experience in 100cc karts and in karts exactly like this, 250cc long circuit karts that, of course, can put Formula 3 times to shame. So here are the grids. So on pole, Sam Fowler with 1 minute 18.3. Daniel Fletcher, what's that? Half a second back. So great time from Sam Fowler. Danley Lamore in 3rd. Alan Dove in 4th. Stephen Calvert, great performance from him in 5th. Only marginally behind Alan Dove. Jonathan Bell in 6th. Oysen Sharkey in 7th. Chris Kemp in 8th. Gosh, this field is very close. Jack Dex in 9th. Rodney Rayborn in 10th. Dave Freeman in 11th. Tony Moore in 12th. Jack Bird in 13th. Chris Kelly in 14th. Andy Dean in 15th. So we do have a bit of field spread there. And yeah, that's it. So a bit of a smaller grid today, but it looks like there's a few drivers that I'd say are out of position. I think Jack Dex is one of those. He came from 14th on the grid to, I think it was 3rd in the first lap. So it'd be really great to see what he can do from 9th. But for this race, we have a bit of a different starting procedure. There'll be no rolling lap and no rolling start. We'll just be going straight to a standing start. So this will be very exciting come the first corner. Okay, here they go. All lined up for the round 3 of the Karting1.co.uk SuperKart Championship. Can't see any lights here. I'm sure they didn't have lights in. Here we go. And they're revved up, ready to go. Off they go. Oh, who's that?
Oh, no.
Was that in pole? Who was that?
I think it was pole, yeah. It completely messed the start up. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what happened there, but maybe Sam Fowler's just given himself a bit more of a challenge. Someone's off there, number 70, spinning around at Cops. There's a few off, but not as many as we've seen before. That's given Daniel Fletcher a really good start. Yeah, so where are we now? Sam Fowler back up to 5th, so it's not slowed him down very much. Daniel Amore in 2nd and Alan Dove in 3rd. Stephen Calvert up to 4th. Sam Fowler's already in the slipstream in 5th, so I don't think it'll be long until he can get back in pole. Who's your money on for today, James?
Who knows, man? Like, even the quickest drivers, it's so easy to go off on these 250s, right? Like, they're so skittish. You got to really be on the money to keep them on the track and keep them on the black stuff. We can see even on the opening lap there, number 70 out of the way. How's our pole sitter sitting right now? He had basically a non-start. He was caught napping there.
Yeah, so Sam Fowler's up to 4th now, past Stephen Calvert. And oh, you can see just he loses the rear on that bump going into what I guess is Woodcote. Is that what the final corner is called? But this layout is incredibly quick. Have you ever seen any racing on this, James?
I don't think so. You know, maybe in some F1 coverage that I watched before, looks like Fletcher maybe or Fowler running a little bit wide coming out of that turn. He's definitely pushing really hard, like you say. He's losing the rear there as he goes in deep on the brakes.
I think that's the thing. I don't know if you've seen any of the previous races, James, but these tyres are quite soft, and when you overheat them, then it just compounds the problem. It just gets worse and worse, gets hotter and hotter. So yeah, you really don't want to be sliding these. It's just incredible. This Stowe corner that they're going around now, you see how wide they run. It's completely off to now what is the grass. Yep, back with the leaders. We've got Daniel Amore closing up on Daniel Fletcher. The slipstream effect is so strong around this fast circuit, but I think it'll be a done deal when Daniel Amore goes for the overtake, but then of course Fletcher can stick in his slipstream. So have you ever driven anything like this in real life, James?
A long time ago I drove a 250 Super for a couple of laps and it was mental. Absolutely insane. I'd love to do it again. It's something I'd love to race, but it's a fair bit of work.
Yeah, I imagine so. Sorry to interrupt you there, James, but we've got Stephen Calvert is very close to the back of Alan Dove. So, yeah, you never know with Alan what he's going to do. Stephen's going to the outside around Beckett's.
Around the outside
and I think he's done it. I think he's done it, you know. What a great move, and that's Stephen Calvert.
Alan comes back here.
It's a long straight now. I think he might be able to get him. But if Alan goes to the outside, Alan won't go to the outside. He's way too experienced for that. And Stephen's leaving the door open. I'm sure that Alan's going to pull out at the last second and overtake him. Yeah, it's not really a braking zone into this Stowe corner, so I'm surprised Alan's taken a very measured approach now. I'm sure he's just looking after his tyres. But yeah, we've got some incredibly close battles throughout the field. Jack Dex is up to 6th from 9th, but is about 4 seconds behind this little group. Yeah, he's all on this. So what was that, James?
Covering Dove side by side.
Yeah. This is an exciting battle. It's yeah. Alan, I tell you, sometimes he can have some brilliant races and other times you wonder what's happened. And from what I've seen of him recently, he's really been driving well and great racecraft. So I don't think he's going to put a foot wrong here. But as we know from the last race, Stephen can really absorb a lot of pressure. So yeah, maybe that last race has given him a bit more confidence. What do you think, James?
I think so, for sure. I think he just dives down on the inside again there of Steve Calvert, is that correct?
And I'm really
difficult to read the
surprised.
numbers sometimes here.
Yeah, so we've got Alan Dove is way ahead of Stephen Calvert now. So I don't know what happened to Stephen. I'm surprised he couldn't stick in the slipstream. But Sam Fowler's fast approaching Stephen Calvert. So yeah, championship leader Sam Fowler really doing an impressive job to keep up with this little bunch. I don't think he'll be able to catch the front two, James, unless they start fighting, or unless there's any errors.
Yeah.
Commentators
Or,
curse.
you know, hopefully, you know, for their sake, the two Daniels are going easy on their tires, because we're only about quarter distance now, I think. So, you know, if they get a little bit too aggressive, maybe we'll see them start to fall back. There's really 8/10 between first and second. Well, now as I say that, it's gone up to a second, but I think it's all to play for. Alan's
Yeah,
a
I
bit
think
back
so.
at 3.1 seconds or thereabout, but
Yeah,
it doesn't take much to make a mistake in these things.
yeah, that's definitely true, and it especially in the sim. So we go back to Stephen Calvert now, who's managed to catch up in the slipstream with Alan. The slipstream effect is so strong here that if you're within half a second, you just get sucked up to the back of them. So yeah, brilliantly measured drive from Stephen here, really smooth on the wheel. He's really impressed me. In the first round he was, you know, 8th or 9th, 10th, something like this, and he's been a real front runner in the last. So yeah, incredibly impressive. Sam Fowler is around a second from Stephen. Here we go, look at this speed that he's got. So he decided not to go for a lunge there, which I think was smart. There's still 14 minutes left. It's just there's not many braking zones on this track, is there, James?
Yeah, any braking that's happening is very light, just down one or two gears and just let the kart roll into the corner, which it reminds me of a track in the US called Black Hawk Farms, where we race 125 KZs and stuff, where you're just like, you're well over or just over 100 mile an hour through the whole track. And
Gosh.
a lot of it's about tactics. It's awesome. It's really good fun, but
I think we've got to.
It's definitely different.
Yeah, it's definitely different. And you know, nowadays we're used to seeing these Herman Tilke tracks with long straights and big stopping zones. So yeah, it's exactly like you say, James. I think that high speed, no braking, really adds a strategic element to this that just isn't present in other circuits. So I'm really enjoying this track. I'm so glad that Alan has put this on the calendar. So look at Sam Fowler catching up Steve. Oh, so Stephen Calvert, that's the first time we've seen him under any pressure, and he's kept it on, but his tyres will be all dirty and hot from that. So I still think that he's going to catch back up to Alan. But yeah, Sam Fowler at the moment looks good for taking a podium, which after the start that he got, I can't believe that that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, he must have lost at least 6 seconds on that start, right? Because half the grid was gone and he hadn't even rolled yet, so he lost a lot of time. But he's making up for it now. Looks like he's pretty close to catching a slipstream off Alan Dove here.
Yeah, he's got it. I think. Look at this. So will he dive or will he not? Yeah, he's got such a high speed that he just drives right past Alan there. I think Alan can hang on to his coattails and be drafted along a bit by him. So that might even help Alan draft up to the leaders, you know, because Sam has got such pace here. So running through the field, we've got Daniel Fletcher out in first, has led ever since lap 1. Daniel Amore half a second behind. Really exciting battle there, and maybe Daniel was saving his tyres. I know that he was really fast in testing. Sam Fowler back up to third from, 9th on the grid? Alan Dove in 4th, where he started, but looking strong, battling well with Sam. Stephen Calvert, really strong performance again in 5th, and right behind him is Jack Dex, so I'd like to see a bit of a repeat of last time. Oisin Sharkey in 7th, Tony Moore up in 8th, he's normally a strong contender. Dave Freeman in 9th, Rodney Rayborn in 10th, Jack Bird down in 11th, Andy Dean in 12th, and two Chris Kemp and Jonathan Bell in the pits. So quite a small field that we've got now. But we've not seen many people going off and getting stuck like we did last time. So that's really good. But yeah, this is a really exciting battle with Alan and Sam. Who do you think is going to come out?
It on the island, all right.
Look at
well,
this.
I guess Sam is quicker, but yeah, the slipstream in the draft, as you say, is definitely making a big difference here.
Yeah, and I don't know how Alan managed to fall behind there, because I thought that he'd firmly outbrake Sam, but along that long straight before Woodcote is such a high-speed section that anyone can just draft right up. This is really helping Stephen Calvert as well, who's just sitting back and watching, saving his tyres while these two are battling. So really is all to play for with this three. We've got Daniel Lamore's dropped over 2 seconds back from Daniel Fletcher. Don't know what's happened there, but by the looks of it, it's just so easy to put a wheel off on the grass that, yeah, that 2 seconds is a small mistake. So now Daniel Fletcher's hoping for his first win. He's had quite a few second places and a disastrous round last time where I think he DNF'd. So yeah, really smooth driving here, out in front, saving his tyres. So really looking good for Daniel Fletcher. So Sam and Alan.
I think he's up there.
Sorry, James.
I was just saying, it looks like he has the race kind of, well, I don't want to say wrapped up, but right now that's how it looks. And then everybody else, though, it's all to play for. From
I
Daniel
think so.
To Sam and Alan. Here we go.
Brave move from Alan. He's really
Alan
chucked it in
right
there.
down.
Where's Sam Fowler gone? Oh, he's in the wall. Oh, Alan, what have you done?
Oh, he's in the wall.
I shouldn't blame Alan here, but that was a strong lunge. No, that's a disaster for Sam Fowler, who's the championship leader. How did he end up in that gate? Gosh, this has really thrown the championship wide open. Stephen Calvert and Alan Dove are fighting. So this will be really interesting. If Alan is going to look at this and decide that he deserves a penalty, I didn't see it, so I can't comment. But this could be unprecedented in the world of motorsport, where the race director also excludes himself. We'll have to see.
An impartial person here. It looks like Steve Calvert's giving it a go here on the inside of Alan. Maybe give him a bit of his own treatment here. Let's see how this goes.
And just beautiful move by.
I think Alan let him by.
Oh, Stephen Calvert looks like he lost the rear a bit there. He ran really wide, or maybe that was just me thinking that. But yeah. Is Alan gonna dive down as he did last time? I think maybe we should ask Stephen Calvert what he thought of that after the race, because he was very close to the back of them both, and of course has been victim of one of these dive bombs. So, yeah, is Alan going to go for it? Is Alan going to go for it? Alan's going into the bit. Has he given himself the black flag?
Maybe.
Gosh, what is going on, Alan? Oh no, is he giving himself a drive-through or something? I wish they had carried on, because that was such a great battle. But yeah, we'll have to. Oh, who's this?
Oh, spinner.
Daniel Lamore's. How did he spin? He looks like
second
he's
place
just
spun.
Now Stephen Calvert's up to second. It just looks like he dropped the rear of the kart on the grass and has spun round there. It's very easy to do that, isn't it, James?
Yeah, it doesn't take much. Just touching the curbs, obviously, in a supercar, it really unsettles them in real life and right here at 1975 Silverstone that we're simulating here today. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course, these curbs are designed for big touring cars with soft suspension, so a kart with no suspension is not going to go well over the curbs. Now we're on board with Jack Dex. He's found himself up in fourth. He likes that position. That's where he came last time at Donington after his 5-second penalty. So yeah, looks like Jack's driving really well. I hope you haven't put the commentator's curse on Daniel Fletcher, James, because he's now 12 seconds ahead of Stephen, and yeah, commentator's curse withstanding, he looks pretty much guaranteed to win this with 6 minutes to go. So Dave Freeman and Tony Moore having a bit of a battle here. So Dave Freeman's decided to go to the outside here, which might... Oh, good, he's back in the slipstream. Okay, so will he do an Alan Dove style lunge? No, he's much more sensible. And I was going to say that's not going to work.
Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not going to work around the outside there, James. There's a huge wall of a curb, and he's backed off ready to fight another day. So, and Jack Dex, what happened to Jack? He's now 28 seconds behind Daniel Fletcher, so he must have he must have just put a wheel on the grass or hit a bump wrong and lost a place. Oisin Shaki's up in 4th. So, yeah, Alan Dove is still in the pits. Can we take a look at him and see if he's retired or if he's got damage? It seemed that his kart was running okay. I think Alan is out of the race, so he'll be starting from 10th place. No, we don't have another race next, do we? This is the only race today. We normally had a reverse grid. So Stephen Calvert up in 2nd place. He seems to go one better every week. So if he can hold off Daniel Amore, I think that's going to be a brilliant result for him. Now we go back to Daniel Fletcher, who looks like he's got a commanding lead, hasn't he, James?
Yeah, for sure. 12 seconds in as many laps given, or, even up to 13 right now. So he's pulling away from the field consistently a second a lap. Unless he puts a wheel wrong or something like that, he's going to be the SuperKart champion for the British Grand Prix, it would appear.
And I believe that entitles him to run the GP plate, which is a very coveted prize in motorsport. So, yeah, Daniel Fletcher couldn't have picked a better time for a first win in the Karting1.co.uk SuperKart Championship. Back over to Daniel Amore, who's chasing down Stephen Calvert, 1.4 seconds now. So obviously that spin hadn't cooked his tyres too much, but I'm sure he's gritting his teeth and putting his head down on every straight, as you do in karts, to try and make the aerodynamics as best as possible. But I don't think he'll be able to get Stephen. What do you think, James?
I hope so, right? I hope so. Let's see.
I hope he can catch him, and I hope they have a battle. But Stephen Calvert's been driving excellently over the last few rounds. So, yeah, I'm not sure who's going to take this. I think he just doesn't have enough time to catch Stephen. So the laps are about 1 minute 18, and we've got 3 minutes 40 left. So we're going to have another 3 laps. And he's gaining at the rate of 2 or 3 tenths a lap. So barring any mistakes, I think Stephen Calvert's got this in the bag, unless the slipstream effect is very strong. So
yeah,
we've
I think,
lost.
if you could just get close enough.
So I've had a message from Alan Dove who said, "I've disqualified myself, just so you know." And I'm really sad about that, Alan. Maybe you should have waited until after the race, because you've really done the viewers out of a great battle there. But again, like we've said, you never know what's going to happen with Alan. Who would have thought that he'd overtake someone and disqualify himself? I wish we could put bets on Alan Dove, because honestly, some of the money I would have won from the things he does over the years. But yeah, that's a turn up for the books, that is. Have you ever heard of anything like that, James?
I don't think I've come across a self penalizing official in a race before. that's definitely a first for me in like 30 years. I've never seen that.
In fact,
it seemed like a stout move, but it was hard to say.
Yeah,
it seemed like a stout move, but not a super aggressive one.
Yeah, I think he just went for a move, and maybe it wasn't quite on, but I think the disqualification is quite a brave move. In fact, I've had it quite the opposite, where I've been disqualified from races and decide to carry on. So it's very, very interesting turnout for the books we've had here. So we're down to only 8 runners now. So I'd really like to know what happened to David Freeman. He was having a great battle there.
Looks like Daniel and Steve are super close. How many laps will we have? Will we have a last lap battle here, maybe?
I think we'll have another... We might have another 2 or 3 laps. So I've had a message from Dave Freeman here. Unfortunately, he lost a front wheel on a curb in turn 1 while having a great dice with Tony for 6th. So he'll be in with us for the next one. But it just shows that hitting that curb it took his wheel off just that he hit the curb. So Daniel Amore and Stephen Calvert, within half a second. I might be eating my words here, James, that Daniel can't overtake Steve, but yeah, we'll see. We've got another... This is the last lap, yeah, so it's either do or die. So, okay, James,
right.
Your reputation is on this. Who's going to take it?
Oh boy, let's go for the sand. I like to see a good sand, so I'm hoping Daniel can pull it off. Let's see.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting one. I think Daniel is not particularly high up in the championship, so it could be a send. But yeah, it would be a great result for both of these two if they can keep on the podium. But Daniel Fletcher will be coming round to take... No, sorry, we'll have another lap because Daniel Fletcher is so far ahead. He'll be able to do another lap. So this isn't the last lap. So, yep, Jack Dex is up to 4th from 9th. Oisin Sharkey, a good performance. Oisin's in 4th. Yeah, so, wow, as we wait to see, we've got 1 or 2 more long straights for Daniel to slipstream and make his move. But you see the counter getting closer and closer all the time there. Look, 3.6, 3.3 tenths, 3.1 tenths, 3 tenths. Gosh, it really is getting close. Yeah. I think you're right. Oh, a bit of a mistake there, a bit of a lock-up. Braking a tad too late there, and yeah, 5 tenths down now. I don't think he'll be able to do it. Cutting to Daniel Fletcher now, who's commanded this whole race. He's even lapped Jack Bird, so that just shows what incredible pace and consistency he's had, in a really well-deserved win for Daniel Fletcher. I'd love to see what this does to the championship. We're going back to Stephen Calvert and Daniel Amore now. So we have one very long straight to go and only 2 tenths. So I think you might be right, James. It might be a do or die send.
Stick it in there. Come on.
Oh, he's still got into Woodcote to go.
So close.
Still got into Woodcote to go, a really long straight. So here we go. Daniel Fletcher's still in the lead, but yeah, let's cut back to Stephen Calvert and Daniel Amore. Stephen really does have some strong nerves to keep it so cool. First with Jack Dex and now with Daniel Amore. Oh, you need to go to the inside, Stephen. Defend.
Oh, some blocking here.
No.
Oh, will there be collision? Let's see. Oh, contact.
Oh, he's managed to get through, and it looks like Stephen Calvert just locked his brakes. So yeah, Daniel Amore's through. Stephen, I just saw him off his brakes as the camera cut away. Daniel Amore's taken second, but another great podium for Stephen Calvert. But yeah, congratulations to Daniel Fletcher, who's absolutely dominated this race. No troubles from him. He hadn't even seen another car after the person, and some donuts. I've heard that fuel was quite light, so he's probably just run out there. Fuel was very marginal on this race, so he's out of fuel. So yeah, just missing out on a podium. Well, not just, but 4th place, Oisin Sharkey, Jack Dex, Tony Moore, who had that great battle with Dave Freeman, Rodney Rayborn, Jack Bird round out the finishers. So a small grid of finishers, but yeah, some cracking battles. What I have to ask you, James, and you can ask me to cut away and talk about something else for a bit, but who's been your driver of the day?
Oh, wow. It's so hard to say. There's been so many good battles. You know, I guess we could give it to Alan Dove just because he retired and he gave it a good send, right? So, you know, give him 2 marks on that one. But it was all to play for. There were so many battles going on. It was really difficult to pick any one race or any one racer even. Of course, the winner, Daniel Fletcher, kind of pulled away consistently 1 second a lap over the entire course of the race. So it was definitely a masterclass by Daniel. But in terms of, you know, looking for drivers that were battling, that was all the way through. I think consistently for the podium, we had a battle for the podium position. So great race.
It really is hard to decide when you've got someone given a dominant performance. It's like, who's driver of the day, Max Verstappen from last or Hamilton in first? So we go for an interview with Jack Dex now, who has a bit of insight for us on that incident from last time. So yeah, let's hear from Jack.
So yeah, got a penalty at Donington, a little bit controversial. A few comments on social media saying should have been one, shouldn't have been one. But for me, not too much of a drama. I mean, it won't make much difference at the end of the day. And hey, I've done things much worse and not got a penalty. So I think things like that always balance it out over the course of a season anyway. Yeah, obviously coming back from PF in the day, I was a little bit late joining, so missed most of qualifying. So coming from the back, it was a lot of fun. Had some great battles, especially with Steve at the end there. We sort of changed places a few times. It was a shame really that I ended up knocking him off with my hard move at the end, but hey, that's racing. So yeah, looking forward to Silverstone. Yeah, on the classic circuit, long straights, should be a slipstream race really. So just about keeping yourself in contention and making the move at the right time, staying out of trouble, and yeah, should provide a close, entertaining race for everyone watching.
So, Jack, very clean race from him. Really great to hear from Jack. And Jack is right. He has done plenty worse in the past and got away. So I'm very much in the camp of that. I don't think he deserved a penalty. But yeah, I think Alan's taken his decision and Jack was relegated. So I need to pick a driver of the race. And it's such a hard one, isn't it? I mean, Stephen Calvert has done an excellent job. I gave him driver of the race last time. But I think it might have to be him again. He's held well under pressure, battled with the likes of Alan Dove, Daniel Amore, Sam Fowler. So, yeah, oh, that's a tough one. I'm going to give it to Stephen Calvert. Excellent driving there. So, yeah, thank you for tuning in to a very exciting round 3 at Silverstone 1985 special, and congratulations again to the new GP plate, Daniel Fletcher. And you can join us on Alpha Live, Meshoom and karting1.co.uk for the next event, which is round 4 at Paul Ricard. So June the 20th, same time, same place. And yeah, it's a very smooth circuit, promises to be very fast and exciting like this one. So I'd just like to thank everyone on behalf of Alpha Live, and I'd like to thank you for joining us all the way from America, James.
Yeah, you're welcome. No worries. I mean, I'm originally from Europe, so it makes sense. And, you know, it's a little early for drinking, maybe at 2 p.m. where I am. But, you know, we've all been stuck in our houses for the most part for the last couple of months, so it's not that big of a deal. You know, one thing I noticed, I took a look at the results for, well, this race, and there was actually only 1/10 of a second between first and second and fastest lap. So,
wow.
I think it disappeared off my screen since, but I think that's really interesting. That, you know, by the end there was such a small difference, even though it was a 15-second lead. So I think the next round is going to be really interesting, and as you say, it's a slipstream track, or a draft track as they might call it in the US. And I think some of the most popular superkart videos that I've seen on social media have been at the Paul Ricard circuit too. So it looks like a perfect place to have that next race.
Oh, that's great. Really excited to hear that it's going to be a good one. And yeah, thanks for spotting that with the fastest laps. It just shows how consistency can win the race over, say, fastest laps. I mean, maybe it helped that second place got a few slipstreams along the straight, but yeah, very equal times from these drivers here. And well, yeah, you've got a lot more of the weekend left to enjoy than we have, James. So thank you very much for joining us again, and thank you for the viewers. We hope you've had a wonderful time and look forward. They seem to be getting more exciting each race. So we look forward to see you again in what's that? Next week. So yeah, see you there. Bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.